you won't look after my wounds. I suppose you will never regret it. I should throw myself out from the roof. Cause you fucking love it when I feel it. Cause you won't look after my wounds. I suppose you will never regret it. I should throw myself out from the roof. Cause you fucking love it when I feel it. Cause you won't look after my wounds. I suppose you will never regret it. I should throw myself out from the roof. Cause you fucking love it when I feel it. Cause you won't look after my wounds. I suppose you will never regret it. I should throw myself out from the roof. Cause you fucking love it when I feel it.
Hello, everybody! How are we doing today? JK has claimed that first. How y'all doing today? It's Tiny Game Tuesday review day. It's the review day. That's right, we're not going to be playing a game today. We're going to be talking about and summarizing and ranking all the tiny games that we've played so far. And I gotta say, so many of these are very, very good games. And I do a pretty good look into the games when I'm picking them out, trying to make sure that they would match how I like to interact with my audience, and that they just in general match my demographic, and all these sort of things. Thank you so much for the lurk, JK. Good luck sleeping. Love you. But yes, we are, I try to make sure that the games I pick are, I pick games that are pretty good. I'm not trying to find bad games. That would be an entirely different series. But in general, most of the games that I picked, I liked. And I'm glad for it, because the last thing I want to do is to bring down small creators. This is meant to support and uplift and showcase how great the indie scene can be, at an entire level. From the high echelons of Celeste and Hollow Knight and Cuphead, and then you have the ones that you've never heard of, and that's what this series is about. Nobody, if you ask 1,000 people, if you ask 5,000 gamers, not a single one of them is gonna say my favorite game is Per Spectrum. Nobody's heard of Per Spectrum, and maybe Per Spectrum shouldn't be anybody's favorite game, but it should be at least noted, and I think we should get into that. I think we should get into all these wonderful games. Of course, I do have a list of all of them. Let me see here. Yeah, TGT. Ooh, I did forget to put the link to the actual list of games in there. Welcome in, Why Am I Here? And welcome in, Sauceboy07. How are you guys doing today? We're getting set up just now, and we're going to be reviewing every single Tiny Game Tuesday I have done. So if you would like to see which games I'm going to be talking about and which games I'm going to be showcasing, my reviews of, that list is right here. It's a Google Doc. It'll have a list of all. The garden game is S tier. In your book? Sure, maybe for your enjoyment, yes. But I'm going to be going off of, my own personal enjoyment, what I think about this game, and like how it feels to play, how it looks. There's a lot of factors that go into my enjoyment of the game. And I will say, chat engagement with Grow Big and Grow Home was definitely very, very fun. However, the creepypasta fishing game was bad, 0 out of 10. Again, everybody gets their own opinion, and my opinion will be different from yours. Thank you so much for showing up, Dustpool. How are you doing today? So why don't we go ahead and take a look actually at the tier list, and I can go ahead and give you guys a link to this as well. But here we go. This is the tier list, and at the bottom there is every single game that we have played for Season 1 of Tiny Game Tuesday. Chat tier. I could end up putting one there, but we've got the S tier, we've got the A tier, B, C, D, and unlisted. The unlisted tier is where I'm going to put games that I don't, like in general, don't fit onto the graph in some way or another. And I know for a fact that one of them is going there, but I'm not going to tell you which one it is until we get there. But there may be another one there as well. Your D tier on the chat tier list. I don't know if that's what Giggle Klutz meant by that. I just don't think. But no, I would never put you in D tier. Unless it's by alphabetically. Then I'd put you in D tier because your name is Dustpool. Yeah, chat opinion of the games. Yeah, that's... I figured that's more of what Giggle Klutz meant. But, why don't we go ahead and take a look here. The first Tiny Game Tuesday we have is Fallow! Now, Fallow, icon right here, is a pixel art style game. It's a top-down puzzle exploration, somewhat atmospheric horror, but like not exactly. It's not a horror game, I'd say, but it is creepy and it has horror elements, right? I don't really like horror games that much, but the creepiness level of Fallow was definitely something that I could handle. And I appreciate that. I appreciate games being creepy. You don't have opinions on these, to be honest. You miss pretty much every Tiny Game Tuesday. Well, thank you for coming here. Thank you for your support. But yeah, I don't expect everybody to come to every Tiny Game Tuesday. I don't expect people to come to all of my streams, even. But I feel like at such a landmark, like, I've been doing this for 6 months. It's important to celebrate, and it's important to show where we've come, where we've been, and where we're going. So, why don't we go ahead and take a look here. The pros I have for this game, well, okay, actually, right, the price of Fallow is $20. The length is like 2 to 5 hours, depending on how completionist you get. Let's see, pros. The tone is consistent, the soundtrack is great, no jump scares, the style is distinct and gorgeous, but on the con side, the movement speed's a bit slow, the puzzle in the manor is very frustrating to begin, and, oh boy, this was a really hard one to start my Tiny Game Tuesday off with because the game is almost impossible to capture with OBS. For some reason, when you use a game capture on Fallow, it will put it up in the corner, really tiny. Like, you know how small my webcam is? Like, it's about that size, but in the other corner. So, like, oh god, I'm gonna get this wrong, aren't I? Over there. Right? No, it's... I always get that wrong. Where is the corner? Okay, I got it right the first time. It's that way. So yeah, it'll only show up in a tiny, tiny bit of the corner when you're using OBS with it, and that's obviously a strike against it, but my review, which most of it was written right after playing the game, is this game made me feel things on a deep level. Use its background noise while you organize your soundtracks. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Thank you so much for the lurk. Right. This game made me feel things on a deep level. First and foremost, this game is a piece of art. You are playing for an experience. If you want a game with complex puzzles where the previous world builds on the next, this isn't for you. This game is open-ended and a lot of the lore is up to interpretation, but all of it is brilliantly crafted and leaves you asking questions. Even I think movement speed is a little bit slow, and the Manners puzzle, at least starting it, is a bit frustrating, but flaws are few and far between, a real hidden gem. Is it worth it? Art is very difficult to gauge if it's worth the price point, because it's subjective. If you enjoy art and dark themes, paying full price for this may be worth your while. However, if the exploration features are more what draws you, you may want to wait for a sale. Alright, so that's what I wrote. And I had to say, 6 months later, I still agree with most of that. Like, the story is really good. The character, she's like, you're really in her shoes as the world is ending and she doesn't know where her family is. She doesn't know what's happening, but she has this looming dread and she has premonitions, and it's very good at pulling you into that dread. It's very good at pulling you in and making you feel things. Did you leave that as a review? I'm pretty sure I did on itch, and I'm definitely gonna need to go through and make sure that I actually posted these reviews everywhere. Wait, no, it wasn't on itch, it was on Steam, right? Because I actually bought Fallow on Steam. Like, as soon as I saw it, I knew I needed to play it. And I'm so glad I did, because the soundtrack and the aesthetic are so on point. They're so good. Like, it's Southern Gothic Eldritch horror, and it just ticks all those boxes, and it is so good. So I think Fallow, at least for now, I'm gonna put it into the S tier. It might be lower S overall, but I love this game so much. It's so beautiful. Like, it does so much with just a couple shades of purple colors, like a couple shades of beige colors, and a couple shades of green colors. Like, there's like 6 or 7 pixel colors in the entire game, and they work so well. Like, the art direction is amazing. I love it so much, and I think this game spent 8 years in development, something like that. So it makes sense that some of the mechanics are a little bit behind, like the movement speed, and maybe some of the, like, absolute completionist stuff isn't exactly the best, but I think that it's enough. It's enough. The art itself is so good. Okay, so, yeah. Fallow is in A or S tier, like, without a doubt in my book. However, we're going to go next to Catlandia, Crisis at Fort Pawprint. Now, Catlandia is a turn-based RPG comedy game, and it's very silly. It's these developers made the game in quarantine as, like, just something to do. It's their first ever game. They may make a sequel, they may not, we don't know. It's $5, so it's a much lower price point than Fallow is, but it's still worth, like, mentioning, like, the price of all these. Let's see, I have listed for pros. It's funny, very good character customization. I still agree with that. Very good. Adorable outfits, good soundtrack, has a warp home mechanic. Not most RPGs, like, like, there's quite a few RPGs that don't have a warp home mechanic, and that's very important for this game. It's very, very handy. That's a nice quality of life thing. It's got fun characters and secret bosses. I didn't find the secret bosses, but I know that there are some. Maybe one. The cons of this game, however, it's entirely controlled by mouse. And it has an arbitrary type matchup mechanic, which is very difficult to decipher. So basically what I mean by that is you have slashing, piercing, and bludgeoning. And an enemy picks, like, it has a weakness to that type, but you don't know which one unless you select that move and wait for the cursor to hover over the enemy in question, which is still very arbitrary because their health bar is going to shake in a way, and I don't know which one is strongest or weakest. It's like, huh? Just tell me outright. Just please tell me outright if you're gonna do that. Welcome in, Warple! You fell in with alongside stacks of ledgers. Very good. We're doing paperwork and stuff today, you know? Like, that's very fitting. You brought the correct mood. Congratulations. We've already ranked Fallow, but now we've moved on to Catlandia. But yes, it has an arbitrary type matchup, but it also has weird menus, very poor equipment management, and a poor difficulty curve. Shuckle doing taxes. If taxes were this fun, I imagine that my mom wouldn't be so stressed out every year. Which one was Fallow again? Fallow was the very first Tiny Game Tuesday I did. It was an RPG, sort of exploration game. It's a sort of horror. It's got, it's horror adjacent. It's mostly creepy, but it has like a southern gothic, eldritch, monstrosity kind of aesthetic. Like, it's very good. So that's why it's an S tier. But, like, it's kind of difficult to actually describe what happens in the game or what it's about, because it's kind of just an experience. Yeah. I think it's very good. That's why it's there. But yes, yeah, meanwhile, Catlandia is an RPG that's entirely controlled by your mouse. Already off on an interesting foot. Because, like, while games controlled entirely by mouse work, there's tons of them. Like, an RPG, like, the movement of your character gets a little bit weird when you have to click and hold to move your character. I'm not a big fan. In order to open your menu, you have to click and hold on your character. And in order to see what equipment does, you have to equip it and then go to your status screen to see what moves it gives you. Now, I think equipment giving you different moves is great. It allows you to customize both of your units. Are you allowed to chime in and give your own suggested rankings? Yes, of course! Like, you're free to give your own opinion, you are free to say, like, what you liked about the game, what you didn't like. It's very important that you guys, share and interact, and I appreciate your opinions. Because I don't have the viewership, perspective on this, and that's an equally valid one when it comes to content creation. In fact, it could be considered even the more important one. But I think that they're pretty equal. If I'm not having fun, like, then I should find something where I'm having fun and you're having fun, you know? You start giving opinions once we get to once we know better. Yeah. Okay. Catlandia. Like I mentioned, it just has very poor menu management, but here's my actual review from the time that I played the game. I like this game. Do I love it? No. If you have it, it's a very good way to burn a few hours, however it's clunky and poorly polished. For example, in important cutscenes, there are no scripted spaces for characters to stand. They're left exactly where they were, in an indistinguishable pile. So, for example, I once had 3 characters in the exact same spot, and the only indication that anybody is talking is a tiny bubble where it says their name, and their facial expression changes. So having them in a pile was not great for determining who's talking. Let's see, combat also becomes a breeze if you utilize the mechanics to their fullest. Being able to auto-crit the final boss on turn 2 for victory felt very cheap, and while I was laughing my butt off, it was likely not the intended experience. Overall, it is enjoyable, but broken. Cheers! Thank you, Giggle Klutz. Is the game worth it? This game is the first in a series that is in development. If it interests you, keep an eye on it. And if it gets sequels, they may fix the many issues the game currently has. So basically what I'm saying is, buy it on sale. If you really want to see this game, probably buy it on sale. Although it is $5 though, so it's not going to make a huge dent if you do want to play it, because it is genuinely silly and a good time. But there are typos, there are all sorts of things that make it not very polished. That said, I had a lot of fun playing it. But, it's in C or B tier. I'm gonna put it in upper C for now, because as we fill out the tiers, we'll definitely have a better feeling for how they should rank against each other. But yes, Catlandia, it's not bad. It's not a bad game, but it needs so much more polish. 1C. Yeah, C+, it's C+. It's really good, but could be better. Okay, next game on the list is probably a fan favorite. Maybe not for all the fans, but for quite a few fans, and we've got Double Cross. Now, Double Cross is a platformer, almost Mega Man X-like. So you've got multiple level selects, you've got these sort of jumping mechanics, you've got a sort of lasso. It was really interesting. Yeah, Double Cross, the game of husband. Yes, I believe that this was the first stream, the first Tiny Game Tuesday you were there for, Wormhole. So from this point forward, you're probably going to recognize some of these names. But yes, it's priced at $20. It's like 6 to 8 hours to complete. To 100%, I have no idea. There's actually a lot of collectibles in this game, and there's a lot of Steam achievements to do, so if you get this game, you do have a lot of content. Dino Husband, you give Dino Husband S+. Alright, well, we'll see if the game as a whole reflects your ranking there. So I put the genres as platformer, action, adventure, sci-fi, mystery, beat 'em up, and story-driven. Because there is a story to the game, and it's pretty rich, and the characters are well fleshed out. Yeah, I actually do have here interesting characters in the prose, so I should probably read that. It's funny, fast-paced, good puzzles, interesting characters, good story, exceptional soundtrack, collectibles. I apparently have listed collectibles as a pro. Maybe that is a pro. It's definitely not a pro that I've listed for some other games on this list, but it's a pro. It did it well enough that I wanted to mention it. Cons. Horrible keyboard support. As a game as a whole, you feel like it's definitely up there. It was really fun to watch, and you really like the characters. Yes. Yeah. We'll get to that in a second here. Yes, it has horrible keyboard support. So, when I started playing the game, it's like, attack is E, heavy attack is F. But you need to push a directional button sometimes when you're using attacks. So D and F are right next to each other on the keyboard, so you couldn't heavy attack to the right. Not very easily. And so I moved it to Q instead, which is wild. Yeah, not to mention that, like, sometimes you could use your mouse in menu, sometimes you couldn't. It was very strange. Very, very strange. Definitely not optimized for keyboard at all. Let's see. World 3 is ironically unfun. That's right. The Thunderdome, there's a lot of mechanics that they tried to use in Thunderdome. Like, that one has, the arcade area and the stealth mission, and neither of these levels capitalized on what made Double Cross fun. So, as a whole, Thunderdome really, really didn't shine compared to the other two worlds. Like, Gootopia had, like, exploration, it had these great collectibles, and Reptaria had high-paced action, and it really capitalized on that Mad Max feeling, even though I haven't watched the movie, but I know enough about the series to know what it feels like, I guess. But it really capitalized on that. It capitalized on, yeah. Like, so those worlds were very, very good. It's just the Thunderdome didn't lean into anything that made Double Cross special. And so that's, like, one of the biggest downfalls of this game. Aside from the fact that, it has very repetitive and uninteresting combat. Yeah, the Mad Max aesthetic. Yes, absolutely that. So its combat is mostly just spam buttons till you win, and the dodge mechanic, I feel like it's frame perfect unless you get an upgrade for it. And you have to be part of the way through the game before you can actually get that. Just like most of the combos for your attacks are unlockables. And by the time you get those, just punching things basically is good enough. So, it doesn't have a very good combat system. And if they make a Double Cross 2, I would love to see them improve this, because, like, if it had good combat mechanics, this game would have just, I would be like, this game would have to be S+, you know, like, it would have, like good platforming, good combat, like, damn, and a good story. It had to fall short somewhere. Like, I would handle horrible keyboard support if it had really good combat. Alright, here's my review. I'm going to lead off with this game should have gotten more attention than it did. It's good, it's got its flaws, but it's a good, complete experience that I enjoyed from start to end, with the exception of World 3. Combat can basically be described as spam, attack, and dodge, which can lead to multiple scenes of simply waiting for the waves of enemies to end, so you can get back to the fun platforming. But the story was well crafted and kept me intrigued, and the side plots among the characters were something I'd love to see more of if there's a future installment one day. Is it worth it? There's a lot that could be improved upon, but if you're looking for a game that's just fun to play, this is a very good candidate. So, I have, like, a 6-month lens of nostalgia for this game, which is interesting to have nostalgia for only a couple months ago, but this world is weird. And I did greatly enjoy Double Cross, but at the time there were definitely moments where I'm so frustrated with the controls, and like, is the story of the game, is the lasso, I forget what the frickin' beam she throws is. You've already had nostalgia for Deltarune Chapter 2, oh man. What happened to us? What happened? I have been busy, that's a pretty good point. So, I remember at the time, I didn't particularly like some of the things. So, like, back then, I think I probably would have ranked it A. But at the same time, if I ranked Fallow this high, I definitely have to rank Double Cross with it, because both of these games, very, very good. Double Cross has a lot more content to the game than Fallow does, which means if you're looking for a game to play, you'd probably be more satisfied if you bought Double Cross. I'm not gonna lie. But both of these games I have love for, so we'll put it in S tier for right now. Yeah, I don't know, like, if I'd rank it higher than Fallow or not. Like, I don't know which one right now, so we're gonna leave it like this, and I could come back to it later and sort that out. Alright, so going back to the cat theme, we've got Bubbles the Cat. Now, Bubbles the Cat, this game is a port from mobile. So this version of the game, like, it was originally developed for iOS, and now it's pitched on the PC platform. And I just want to note that a good portion of the games that I play were featured in charity bundles. So if you want an idea of, like, what kind of like, people these are, they at least support different charities that I also support. So that's that's something to note. Just putting that out there. But okay, Bubbles the Cat, yes, mobile port, or rather, port from mobile, because when you say mobile port, normally you mean the other direction, but in this case, it's from mobile to PC, and, which really explains its one-button mechanics. Like, there's only one button for this, and the reason for that is that it's a precision platformer auto runner. It's $8. I didn't finish it. It's very, very difficult, and I also called it a collect-a-thon, because if you collect all the cat treats in the level, which are basically showing you where to jump, you, yeah, you get 3 stars, and if you unlock 3 stars, you unlock more stuff. So, you know, pretty standard stuff, but, because you're automatically running, you have to think about the jumps that you're going to do as you're doing them, which I think turns a lot of people off from auto runners in general. I don't have much experience with auto runners. In fact, I think this is one of the only ones I've ever played. So, I don't have a big frame of reference. Bubbles the Cat was interesting, but it didn't hold your attention very well. I think that's because it was a slower platformer, you need something to keep you engaged. Yeah, that tracks. It gets faster. I think it was World 4. There were speed-ups, and that was really fun, but by that point I was too tired from some of the other mechanics. The pros I have, it's easy to learn, tough to master. Simple controls, it's one button. It's got some beautiful artworks, like, yes, like, the artwork for when you complete worlds, it's very, very pretty. Has a good soundtrack, fun power-ups, and the casual support for the game, because there are casual modes, it's very good. They did a good job of making sure that if you just want to play the levels, you do have a casual option, and so the accessibility is good. The cons, though, is that the gameplay is very punishing. If you mess up once, you can kiss maybe, like, even the completion of the level goodbye, if not just, like, yeah. It's that unforgiving. I do love the power-ups, though. I'm just gonna say, a power-up where you can create your own wall-to-wall jump off of. Oh, that's so sick. That was the most fun part of this game. Being able to wall jump anywhere you want. That was awesome. And I still died a lot. Yeah, it's got a grueling difficulty curve, which demands perfection. So the longer you play the game, the more you need to be accurate, the more you need to know what's coming, the more your mistakes set you back. As the levels get longer, and the jumps get more difficult, and the power-ups get more complicated, there's promise there, and maybe I would have enjoyed it more if I wasn't trying to go through the entire game all at once. I'm going to admit that. But that's one of the things that gets in the way of putting a mobile game onto PC. When you're playing a mobile game, you can take breaks whenever you want. You can come back and 3-star it later when you're trying to do something else or waiting for the bus, something like that. But with PC, you're usually pretty dedicated to what you're doing. And so if you boot up a game, you generally want to sink some time into it. And at the time, I'm pretty sure at this point, I think I was streaming for 4 hours by now. So I played Bubbles the Cat for 4 hours straight. Maybe a little less. But yes, I played quite a lot of it. Here's my actual review for it, though. I played most of this game in one sitting, and I can tell you, that was a mistake! This is not to be confused with this game being a mistake. Alright. This is a game you pick up and play a couple levels and sit down for a break. Exactly what I just said. Because this is a PC port of a mobile game, which is a much better platform from this sort of experience, levels often feature sections near the middle or end which require exceptionally precise, if not frame-perfect, jumps. Or else you will fail and have to start the whole thing over again, leading to frustration and helplessness. And that's for beating the level, not getting 3 stars, which of course is even harder. This game prides itself on its one-button control scheme, which, while it does make it easy to learn, means there's only a single solution to any problem the game throws at you. Follow the cat treats or you will die. Plain and simple. Is it worth it? Maybe on sale or on mobile, this game has scarred me. The salt! The salt! Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, reading all of this and coming back to this, I'm remembering how grueling this was, how much I was just sitting there like, because like I just go like boom, 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 because there's only one button. There's one button. You love it? Hell yeah. I think I have to put Bubbles the Cat in D rank. Like, it's well constructed. I don't remember there being any glitches or anything, but like, maybe it's the platform choice, maybe it's I don't know, but I think I have to put it in D. It's not better than Catlandia. Catlandia is by far better than Bubbles the Cat. Like, I can't put it in the same tier as Catlandia. That would be slander. Okay. Let's see. After Bubbles the Cat, we have Stellaxy. Ooh boy, Stellaxy. Okay. I don't even need, probably, to dilly-dally anymore. I'm putting it in unranked. This is the one I knew I was gonna unrank. Because it's early access, but like, when I say early access, what I mean is, it's like alpha, alright? So just because I hate it, hate is a strong word, it's not ready yet. It's not ready for these sort of in-depth conversations about like, what is this game good it's not finished. It's not finished. And I actually heard a notification pretty recently that the developer has come back to the game and is going to start updating it some more. Could be early alpha, like your OC story. Yeah, like, right now, it's probably kind of like a concept piece. Still actually seem really interesting, but it needs some more work to really make more sense. Yeah, and like, it also kind of suffers in like some of the same regard to Bubbles, is that most of what happens is like one button press. So when you go from place to place, you use a single button to do most things, and most quests are just go to a place and not even do anything there, not even land, not even look around. It's just hover over the planet. So the quest system needs an overhaul. The exploration needs an overhaul. There's a lot of things that build up that Stellaxy needs to work on. And until I think it's actually, like, remotely a finished product, I don't think I'm gonna come back to it. And it's not fair to rate a game that's in such early development against any of these other games. Because Bubbles the Cat is finished, Catlandia, finished, Fallow, finished, etc. All the other games on this list are finished, and Stellaxy is not. So it's just not fair. So, yeah, that's why I'm putting it in unranked. Although I do still have a review for it. It's priced at, $7, technically, $6.99 for that 69. You're sitting here waiting for Grow Bigger, Go Home because you have thoughts about that. Yeah, that's gonna be a little while. It's gonna be a little while. Because we're getting into month 2, and I think I played Grow Big, like, last month, so it's gonna be a little bit. I'm going through them chronologically. What I've listed as pros for Stellaxy is that it has a large world and funny dialogue, which is true. There was the ginger ale planet, and I thought that was funny. I thought that was really, really funny. Cons: slow travel, unsatisfying gameplay loop, unpolished mechanics, unstable. Also note, I played this in December of 2021. December. So, yeah, that's, so if you get, any updates to the game, it may not have some of these issues. Thanks for the lurk, Umberto! Appreciate you. He was streaming Koromon earlier. He rated me yesterday. I should go ahead and shout him out here, because he's another content creator. Here we go. There we go. And, of course, also, I should shout out Why Am I Here as well, because he stopped by earlier. And both of these people are wonderful content creators, so go ahead and check them out. If you like my content, you may like theirs as well. Yeah. Alright, back on topic. Right, so Stellaxy, yeah, large world, funny dialogue, but slow travel and unsatisfying gameplay loop. That basically sums up most of the problems with the game, is that, yeah, it was built for exploration, but not necessarily gameplay, and in order for exploration to be satisfying, you need some gameplay stuff to go with it. Why is this place special? Why do you want to go here? What can you gain from it? Like, why is this fun? It's something you have to ask yourself. And I don't think Stellaxy has asked itself deep enough questions about what makes it fun yet. And it may. It may go deeper into this. And I hope it does. I hope that this game comes out and it's better. I hope. Yeah. Okay, yeah, basically I've already said all of this stuff with the simple one-click engagements with the world, gives a sort of same feeling. The game has a lot and nothing at the same time. It needs some major updates before I'd be willing to come back to it, even if it's made more stable. Yep, that's what I said in my review. So I basically summed all that up already, like already off the head. Yeah. I'll keep an eye on it. I'll let you guys know if it gets good. But right now, like, it's not good and it's not fair to... Can you please play music? Thank you. It's not fair to rate it against anything else, so that's why it's on the on the bottom in unranked. Moving on, the next one, Some Distant Memory. Oh, this game. Oh, this game. Oh my goodness. Stellaxy is not the game you were thinking about. Which game were you thinking of? What game were you thinking of? We'll find out. We'll find out. But yeah, most people, like, I don't think a lot of people were actually there when I was playing Stellaxy, so I'm not surprised that you weren't there. Yes, I think, yeah, so Some Distant Memory. This game is very, very good. Here's its icon down here. Some Distant Memory is an instant S tier. Alright, it's priced at $13, 5 hours to 100%. I missed one thing to 100% this game. I missed one thing. And I feel so bad about that. But, just means if you guys want to find it, you can't get that from my playthrough. But yes, it's a story-driven point-and-click exploration game where you're an archaeologist and you're walking around and you're examining different items in this landscape, in this house, right? You fall into an underground cave and you find this house that is, like, untouched by the apocalypse, and so everything leading up to that point is intact, and you can actually find some definitive answers about what caused the apocalypse and the people that lived here. And it's like knowing, like, sort of where it ends up. You just have this attachment to everything about it. Yeah, so pros. A bug fables! I hate that that's an accurate description. It's just like, ah yes, you've just described bug fables. Except Bug Fables doesn't explain what happened. Technically this game doesn't explain what happened either, but it has, like, lots of breadcrumbs telling you what probably happened. And I love that. It's got, yeah, it's funny, it's got a rich lore, it's so emotional. The art style is incredible. The art is absolutely gorgeous. And it's consistent and fleshed out. Like, the lore is so consistent. The characters act a certain way. They have likes, they have dislikes. It's just really in-depth. This game would not work if the two main characters didn't get along the way they do. They have little bits of friction, yes, but they're good friends. And the way they interact is touching and beautiful. The cons for this game, there's a little bit of backtracking, there's no notebook to reread information without revisiting where it comes from. I would have loved to be able to take notes, like come up with theories, like write down like where something is. For the sounds of it, it's something happened with algal blooms. Yeah, that's the lore, at least. It's just, yeah. It's just very, very good, and, like, the more you explore, the more you learn, and it's so rewarding to explore. Personally, I would have liked if there was a little bit more puzzle, like you have to piece some things together because the house was in an earthquake and it fell. So I would have appreciated that, but, like, I think that it's still good the way it is. Like, no need to force mechanics just to make there be more gameplay. Like, I played this game all in one sitting. It took me 5 hours. I streamed way longer than I normally did at the time, because I was hooked. I was hooked on this game. I didn't want to set it down until it was done. So here's my review. If you like lore or art games, this is an incredibly good game for you. There's a story here, rich, in-depth characters, and beautiful, dilapidated art. It's theorizing, emotion, and discovery at its finest. The only time I ever felt as though the mechanics didn't support me was having to backtrack to fetch an item from another room, though this happens so infrequently that it's not exactly an issue. The game has good humor and wit, which helps lift some of the darker tones present throughout, which I find is well balanced. Again, I have to reach to find cons for this game. If it looks interesting to you, get it. Is it worth it? Yes. This game is cheaper than I expected and is an experience worth having. Yes, it's $13. I expected it to probably be like 15 at the low end, 20 at the high end. The fact that it's 13, like, damn. It's a good deal. It's a very good deal. And yes, Some Distant Memory is S rank. It's definitely, the story's definitely better than Double Cross, and the gameplay is better than Double Cross. I don't know if it's above Fallow for me or not, because, yeah, these two are in more contention than these two are. Yeah, Some Distant Memories definitely, I like that one story more than Double Cross. Maybe I found Double Cross a little bit more engaging, but at the same time, did I sit and play through all of Double Cross in one sitting? No. Did I wish I could? No. Some Distant Memory, I could not put it down. I could not put that game down. That just says to me that it's an S rank. It is S tier. Go wishlist that game right now. Okay, yeah, the way I said that, yeah, okay. It's it's gotta be above Fallow. I didn't say that for Fallow. Go wishlist Some Distant Memory. It's so good. So good. Okay. Let's see, the next one on our list is Perspectrum. That's this icon right here. So this is a platformer puzzle game. And it's the studio's very first game. Another one of those kind of like passion project-like games. You know, I think that they also started during quarantine, so it's kind of in a similar boat to Catlandia. But it's a puzzle platformer with with exploration elements, and there's a lot of collectibles as well, which notably I did not list as a pro. But that's the mechanic of the game, basically. Is that like, okay. No, the mechanic of the game is that there are different states that the world can be in, and each different state changes what liquid is. So there's, like, water, where you can move through it, and platform through it. There's ice, which is solid, and you can platform off of it. There's lava, which kills you, and then there's acid, which kills you and melts stuff. So, that's one of the issues of the game. But we're gonna list the pros. Also, the game is $5, so also a very good price. It's got a good soundtrack, clever puzzles, sweet story, funny dialogue, distinct and memorable areas. Yes, each one of the areas has like different mechanics, different aesthetics, different puzzle styles. I think they did a good job of making sure that every area had its own contained things, and I think that was very good. Very well done. The cons, though: unpolished loading screens, floaty jumps, a couple sections of overly tight platforming, the mechanic is underutilized, and then there are a couple potential soft locks. Perspectrum seemed interesting. I think it could be fun for a lot of people you don't know about it to really say anything. All you saw is a collectathon, and those generally aren't your thing. Fair enough. Yeah, in order to beat the game, you do need to 100%. which is a shame. I would have liked bonus collectibles of some sort, but I like collecting things, so I do like it. I do like it, but okay. So what I'm talking about when I say unpolished loading screens is that the loading screen is concept art. So it's very sketchy and like this is what we want the area to feel like, you know? And if they'd actually turn that into a full render, the loading screens would be just fine. Like, mwah, perfect. That's where you're going to. That's what it looks like. It's great. But as it stood, I was a little bit confused when I hit my first loading screen because what is this? It's like, oh, it's just the loading screen. If they'd actually taken the time to draw it, because they can do art. They did some really, really nice art. But it didn't